but I would like to welcome Cindy Kristen, Business Development Manager at American Cruise Lines. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We were just chatting about Zoom
Yeah.
and everything else, and Kelly and I actually were on the American Cruise Line on the American Harmony on the Mississippi in December, and we had a fabulous, wonderful cruise. So I'm going to share some of my experiences, but I want you to kind of take it away and tell us about what's going on now with American Cruise Lines.
Okay, you ready for me to start right now?
I think you can start. We're already past the hour, and I was fooling around trying to figure this webinar thing out, but I think we've got it.
Okay, very good. All right, well, it's Thursday afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. My name's Cindy Kristen. I am with American Cruise Lines. We're the largest USA river cruise operator with 13 ships in our fleet. And just a little background about our company. We're about 30 years old. We are privately owned by one family, the Robertson family. They're based out of Guilford, Connecticut. And we actually have our own shipyard where we build all of these ships, and that's located in Salisbury, Maryland. And so we have complete control over the introduction of all of our ships, and I'm going to introduce you to those all today. But we have a great product for you to allow you to stay right here close to home. We have so many wonderful itineraries for you to see and explore, so many great places to see in our country, and we can take you to a lot of these places on board our beautiful ships. So I want to thank Michael for hosting me today and inviting you. And let's go ahead and get started. Short video.
America, a nation rich in history and boundless optimism, from sea to shining sea. From the epic route of Lewis and Clark to the revolutionary spirit of our founding fathers, we are a nation of pioneers, ideas, and adventures. With American Cruise Lines, you can experience it all. Bask in the scenic beauty of the heartland. Savor the tradition of a New England lobster bake. Feel the warmth of true Southern hospitality. Step back in time aboard our modern riverboats and explore what defined us as a nation. Cruise close to home with American Cruise Lines. Visit AmericanCruiseLines.com.
I hope you enjoyed that. That was actually Charlie Daniel. That's one of our commercials that we use to advertise on different TV channels. So we do have some great itineraries, have over 35 itineraries taking you right here close to home. And like I said, beautiful places to explore. I've traveled a lot myself, being in the travel industry for so many years, but I always find there's so many places and states that I've never been to before. And we find that's often common with a lot of our guests as well. So overall, we have 35 beautiful itineraries across the United States. We do the entire Mississippi, starting from the lower Mississippi in New Orleans up to Minneapolis on the upper Mississippi. We also do the tributaries, the Ohio from St. Louis to Pittsburgh, and St. Louis, Nashville on the Cumberland. Moving out to the Pacific Northwest, we do the beautiful Columbia and Snake Rivers. And then we have all these coastal products that we go down the coast here, the Maine coast, New England, the Hudson, Chesapeake Bay, our Mid-Atlantic and our East Coast inland passages. Our historic South and Golden Isles, that's going to be out of Jacksonville, Florida, and our great rivers out of Jacksonville, Florida. Moving back out to the west, we have Puget Sound and San Juan Islands, and our 3 Alaska programs ranging from 7 to 14 days. So we'll talk a little bit more in detail of all these beautiful itineraries here. We'll start with the New England itineraries, and the New England itineraries, of course, operate during the summertime. These are on our coastal product, and we have our Maine coast product, which departs out of Portland, Maine, round trip. We visit beautiful cities like Camden and Belfast and up into Bar Harbor. Then we have our New England Isles itinerary. That's going to be out of Providence round trip on a 7-night. We have a longer version of that. It's called the Grand New England. that will take you out of Boston round trip. And you can see some of these great ports like Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, Nantucket. These are places that people always would love to go to, but are just not the easiest places to get to. And our little small ships can get right in there very easily for you. Also in the fall, we go and do the beautiful Hudson River out of New York City. So we visit Sleepy Hollow and West Point and the Catskills and Hyde Park on up to Albany. So round trip from New York City in the fall time, of course, when the leaves are really colored and very beautiful time of year to visit that area. In the winter time, we bring 2 of our small coastal ships down to Florida. They leave out of Jacksonville, and one of them goes round trip Jacksonville, called the Great Rivers of Florida. So we're visiting those cities like St. Augustine and Amelia Island. And we'll take it on up to Charleston on our historic South and Golden Isles itinerary. And so that would be Jacksonville to Charleston. Or we'll go on up from Jacksonville all the way up to Baltimore on an East Coast inland outlet. We also sell the portion from Charleston to Baltimore on our Mid-Atlantic inland passage. So we've got quite a few itineraries here, and that's where we keep 2 of our small coastal ships during the winter time. Now, very popular for us, of course, is the Mississippi. The Mississippi is an amazing river. It's got so much history. There's so much to learn in this part of our country. And the Mississippi River has a lot of names, of course, the Mighty Mississippi, the Muddy Mississippi. They're all great. I'm actually from the Mississippi. Where I grew up was off of the Mississippi River. So there's a lot going on the Mississippi, a lot of commerce. You're going to see all of this, and you're going to learn all the history about the Mississippi River from our historians when you're on board. So most popular for us is the lower Mississippi. There you're looking at round trip New Orleans or New Orleans, Memphis. Those are 7-night itineraries. And we visit beautiful stops, Oak Alley. Like you're seeing this photo right here, right now is Oak Alley, one of the beautiful antebellum homes. We also have the Humus House, which is another beautiful home that we stop at, Baton Rouge and Natchez. We go to the Military National Park in Vicksburg. So that's the lower Mississippi, and we do the lower Mississippi usually from the middle part of February until the end of the year, past over New Year's. And then we do the upper Mississippi in the summertime, and that is because that portion of the river tends to have higher water. So we do it in the summertime. We'll go from St. Louis to Minneapolis, and you can see the stops like in Hannibal, Missouri, and Davenport, Red Wing. Now you can also do the entire Mississippi if you want. We sell, the 14 nights on the entire Mississippi, or we have that's called the Grand Heartland, or we have the complete Mississippi on a 21 night from New Orleans to Minneapolis. And that's a great one, of course. You're going to see everything. Then we also do the tributaries from St. Louis to Pittsburgh. As you can see the stops, Louisville, Cincinnati, wonderful places, lots of great stuff to see. And then we have the St. Louis, Nashville on the Cumberland too. So great, great stops here on the Mississippi. Moving out to the northwest, we have the Columbia Snake, also extremely popular. This is an area a lot of people in our country have not seen. The landscape is just stunning. You'll visit places like Multnomah Falls. You're going to see Mount St. Helens, the Dalles, just gorgeous area of our country. And this area, of course, is known for the Lewis and Clark journey. And you're going to learn a lot about that on this itinerary. And we do sell this program as a 7-night or a 10-night. So great area to cruise. And then I'm showing you also here our Puget Sound and San Juan Islands. That's on one of our coastal programs, and that leaves out of Seattle round trip. And that is a really adventurous type itinerary, nice stops. We have a naturalist on board. We're going to do some whale watching and some fun stuff on there. Really beautiful area. And then Alaska. Alaska has got so much to see and such a huge state and just stunning scenery. We offer 3 choices in Alaska. Remember, we're an American company, so we do not leave the United States. We stay strictly in the United States. We do 3 itineraries. We'll do the round trip Seattle on our on one itinerary. Our Alaskan Explorer will do a 10-night itinerary, and that goes from Juneau round trip. And then we do the Inside Passage on a 14-night that will take you from Juneau to Seattle, the complete Alaska there. So what you'll notice about our Alaska is that these are very small ports. A lot of these ports we can get into, the big ships just cannot. We use a coastal ship here that is 175 passengers. We have a naturalist on board. We have a historian on board. You're going to learn all about this area, the region, the wildlife, everything. We're going to cruise one whole day right inside the glacier. Really great. Of course, Alaska is never disappointing. So what ships do we use to do these wonderful itineraries? These are small, intimate ships. And these first one I'm showing you here is the American Song. It was our first new modern riverboat. If any of you have ever been on a river cruise ship in Europe, these look somewhat similar to those in Europe, but they are different. The difference is they are about 100 feet shorter in length. They are wider, faster, quieter, extremely environmentally friendly, and they can go very remote, which I'll show you in a moment. They are 100% balconies, very spacious staterooms. They start at 250 square feet. That's a single cabin, and they go up to 900 square feet. On average, they're about 325, so they're very, very spacious. The American Song is out on the Columbian Snake, and we have a second new modern boat, which is called the American Harmony, which is on the Mississippi at this time. It will be relocated at the end of the year out to the Columbian Snake as well. We have our third new modern boat, the American Jazz, which is going to arrive in August. And we'll have our fourth early part of next year, the American Melody. We do plan on building a 5th of these new modern boats. That ship is not yet named. And by the way, these are 185 guests. Now, one of the great features here that you see on these new modern boats, they just glide along the water. They're very quiet. They're like a Porsche for us to drive along the water, and they're extremely, they can go very remote, as you see from this photo here. So what happens is if we don't have an actual docking platform, we can still dock these ships. We just pull right into the embankment. We open the mouth of the ship, and we release the bow, and our guests can embark and disembark this way. And this is something that our owners created. It is a bow ramp. It's patent pending, but it's pretty neat. And I will tell you, I just did a cruise in early March, and what happened was the river was high in Natchez, so we could not dock where we normally do dock. So we had to dock on the other side of the bridge, and we just pulled into the embankment, and we actually tied up the ship to 2 trees in the water there. So it was kind of interesting and fun to see. So that's just a little bit of tidbit for you, what we can do with these new modern riverboats. Now, when you think of river cruising in the US, you probably think of the authentic paddle wheelers, and we do have 4 of them. They range in size from 100 guests to the largest at 185. We have 2 on the Columbian Snake and 2 on the Mississippi. And these 3 of them we built, and 1 we purchased and refurbished. And of course, these have a tremendous amount of history that you're going to learn about on board. And they have a wonderful following to this day. They are decorated more nostalgic with a Victorian accent. And we have 5 of these small coastal ships, 2 that are 175 passengers and 3 that are only 90 passengers. And these little wonderful ships, they hug along the coastline, and they allow us to go in these beautiful, small, intricate little ports that are always something that we wish we can get to easier. And we can do that here on these small coastal ships. So what sets American Cruise Lines apart? As I said, we are the largest USA river cruise operator. We have a lot of experience taking our guests to the best destinations here in the US and showing them these wonderful sights and history of these areas. On board our ships, our guests are going to be have the largest staterooms, very comfortable large staterooms to relax and enjoy during their cruise, with private balconies. Our programs include complimentary featured excursions. We have on board the ship's elevator access to all the decks. We do a twice daily stateroom service, and our programs do include gratuity and Wi-Fi. We also have locally sourced and inspired cuisine, wonderful food. I'll touch on that in a moment. And we also include complimentary cocktail party every evening, daily entertainment. On board, you step on board, it's an all-American experience. All of our crew are, our ships are 100% American crewed, 100% American flagged, and 100% American built. So all American experience. And we do also have beer and wine at lunch and dinner. And I'll just, again, touch on all of these a little bit more. I wanted to show you here one of our spacious staterooms. You can see they're really nice and large, very roomy, lots of closet and drawer space for you, totally areas, you know, you're not gonna be tripping over any furniture or anything, really nice large staterooms. Also, we have quite a few single occupancy staterooms. On our new modern boats, we have 10 single occupancy staterooms. So if you are single, you travel by yourself, we have these wonderful staterooms for you with single rates. We have single rates, and we do get a lot of singles on board. On top, the decks, very nice, beautiful top decks, lots of areas for you to just relax and enjoy the ever-changing scenery. Always, we have a putting green on every ship and other types of games as well for our guests. And we are also offering dining on the top deck through the week or 2 weeks of your sailing as well. Private balconies with unobstructed views. We do offer room service throughout the day, so you can absolutely offer room service and enjoy it out on your beautiful balcony. We include a complimentary cocktail party every evening, and it's more than a cocktail party. It's a great time to socialize, listen to the wonderful entertainment. We also have all types of liquor, top shelf liquor. You can have anything you wish. And we do the cocktail party before dinner and usually run the cocktail party through the end of the evening. So that means even after dinner, come into the lounge, enjoy the entertainment, and we'll continue with the cocktail party in the drinks. I want to mention as well that we do include beer and wine at lunch and dinner as well. If you by chance purchased a nice bottle of wine on the Colombian Snake, you can absolutely enjoy that on board. We also, maybe you purchased a bottle of bourbon or scotch or whiskey, you can enjoy that too. So you might keep that in mind as well. So no problems there. We have open seating dining. Our dining rooms are very spacious. You can see the tables are quite distant from each other. Our dining works in that you come into the dining room, you sit wherever you like with whomever you like. We have plenty of space for all of our guests. You do not have to be in the dining room right when it opens during the open seating dining period. We have now, as well as the dining room, we also have on some of the ships, we have a second dining area, a cafe on the top deck. And we're also doing some dining outside on the top deck as well as our room service. So we're giving our guests several choices for dining. We have regionally sourced and inspired cuisine. Each day we bring on fresh meats, fish, fruits, vegetables. You're always being served the freshest foods. Our food is really excellent. The portions are very large. You may decide after day one, these are too big of portions. You want half portions, absolutely fine. This is, of course, beautiful lobster. On our main coast in our New England itineraries, we always make those lobster bake themed cruises, but regardless if it's lobster bake or not, you're gonna get a lobster at least once during the week. So you can look forward to that. Also, we have world-class entertainment on board nightly. We really shine in this area. If you like local entertainment, jazz, blues, country, all different types of music, we have dancers, performers, musicians, comedians. My particular cruise I was just on was actually a music-themed cruise. So we had like a phenomenal entertainment on there every evening. It just would blow your socks off. It was really, really excellent. And we also, in addition to that, we had a musician that sailed the entire week with us. And his job was to entertain the passengers with music and history of music and genres and banjo lessons and all of this kind of thing. So it added to the music theme of that week. We also have award-winning enrichment programs. This is one of our historians, Todd Weber. You can see he's dressed in character, and he will, of course, tell you all about Lewis and Clark while you're on that Columbia and Snake itinerary. So this is all part of the enrichment and very rewarding experience that you're going to get, because we're not selling the ships, we're selling the experience, because what you come back with is so enriching, the history that you learn. It's very, very fulfilling and very rewarding to learn. And they bring this all to life for our guests on board, these wonderful historians that we have. So really glad to have them traveling with us. We do some wonderful excursions. On our river cruise product, we include always an included featured excursion every day. And these are hosted by local guides. On the coastal product, we do include some featured excursions, but not every day. And some of those would be considered premium, and those would be $20 to $70 extra for those. But we are very excited because this year we added over 50 new shore excursions. And these are just a few of them that I wanted to show you, because we have, of course, a lot of historical type excursions, but we also have a lot of active things. So you can see now we're doing kayaking in our historic South and Golden Isles. We've got segways we use on the upper Mississippi. We've got hiking out in Puget Sound and San Juan Islands. And we've got raft excursions in Alaska, and we've got schooner sailing in the Maine coast. Some really fun, active things. And there's plenty for you to do, or if you don't want to do a lot, you can do whatever you want. You can do our featured tour or not do it, or you can do one of these extra tours, whatever you like. It's there for you, and it's all part of the experience to see our beautiful country. When we're out on these tours, we have these wonderful motor coaches that have our logo on them, and they're brand new, and they allow our guests to enjoy these private coaches on their guided shore excursions. And you'll see them all around town. And on the Mississippi, just recently, I think we had 21 motor coaches. So it kind of looked like American Cruise Line ants everywhere. You could see these motor coaches driving all over the city. And they do follow the cruise the entire time. So they're with us at all times. They're taking our guests. They're very, very nice. So I didn't want to end unless I wanted to tell you some of the things that we are doing in order to prepare our guests for their upcoming cruise, and what we've done on board to make it as safe as possible for our guests and confident in cruising with us. Know that we do have an independent HVAC system in every stateroom. Each room has its own individual air conditioning, and that has always been the case. We also have UVC water filtration system. We do now touchless boarding and check-in process that includes a medical screening. We do sanitation rounds conducted hourly. We have personal protective equipment for our guests and crew, hand sanitizing stations, our no public bathrooms. Our guests will be asked to use their stateroom bathrooms. Also luggage sanitation, cocktails and hors d'oeuvres will be kept behind bearers and passed to our guests individually. So we do not have any buffets. Disposable covers on TV remotes, sanitation of touch points in staterooms. Also, we've reduced the capacity in our dining room. So I mentioned earlier about the different options that we have for dining. We've also reduced the capacity on board the ships to 75%, so we are not selling them full. And keep in mind, these are smaller ships to begin with. So we do have lots of area for our guests. Also new for us is medical professionals on board. We now have a resident nurse or an EMT on each ship. Our ships will carry the COVID-19 quick tests. We also have an outbreak management plan ready to go. Our crew is trained for COVID-19 symptoms for their guests and themselves. And we have reduced in coach and excursion capacities to allow for physical distancing. Now, this is not everything we've done, but just a little bit of what we've done. we have done, and in order to prepare for our guests to come back and sail with us. More information, you can get more information from Michael if you have any questions on how we're prepared for our guests to come sail with us again. So I want to end it on that note, and thank you very, very, very much for your attention. I hope you've learned a few new things here with my presentation today. And I know that Michael is very, very happy to help you plan your next American Cruise Line vacation. We have those wonderful 35 different itineraries to choose from. And if you do book within 2 weeks, we do have a show special we'll offer to you for $600 off per cabin. And that is not combinable with any other offers. So if that's the best offer, then Michael can certainly extend that to you, or maybe we have a promotion in the market that might be better. But either way, we'd love to have you join us on your next vacation. So thank you very much.
Cindy, thank you very much. That was a very good presentation. I do love the fact that when she says all American, she means it. When we encountered the staff, I mean, everybody is, they have the same outlook we do. It's a very interesting mix. And it's not like any other cruise I've been on, and I mean that in a good way. The food, we didn't know what we were going to expect with the food. The food is delicious, and it's regional, and it's based on where you are in the U.S. during your cruise, and that made a big difference. You feel part of the environment like that. I took a couple pictures just of some common areas. It's very spacious. You almost feel like you're in a boutique hotel, I would say. It's beautifully decorated. This was the American Harmony. This was a common area. I'm going to show you Bill Wymuth in a minute. He was our, him and his wife, Laura. Laura is she did most of the music on board, but he is a historian. And I mean, I'm hooked on Bill already. Like, I subscribe to his podcast and everything. I've never met anybody so knowledgeable, with such a great outlook on American history, and he brings it to life. And I'm going to tell you, it was normally at 4 or 5 o'clock on board, and whatever anybody was doing, wherever they were, if Bill's history lesson was going to be at 5, you can believe everybody was there for that. I mean, it was one of the best parts of the cruise. That's Bill right there. And he's talking about the places that you're going to go to next, which is then when you visit them, you feel like, hey, now I realize what Bill is talking about. I mean, obviously I'm from this country, and I've been all around. I've been to some of these cities, but not a lot of these little towns. And I didn't know everything about them like it is to do it from a cruising perspective and with an expert on board like Bill and Laura. This articulating gangway where the nose lifts up is amazing. I mean, you can see there's no dock here of any kind. The captain just moors right up to land, and then they tie off to a tree or whatever there is on land. And then this articulating dock comes out and swings around. They can even get a golf cart on there. And so one thing about this cruise is the most ADA friendly cruise I've ever been on. The elevator goes to every deck. There's wide halls, there's smooth surfaces. They have means to help people once they get off the ship to get to the places. And of course, in the United States, everything has to be ADA compliant. There's a few things like, I think Hummus House, I mean, of course it was built in the 1700s, and so there's not an elevator. So the best they can do there for people that are mobility challenged is they have a room downstairs after you've toured the downstairs and the grounds, where they show a video of what you would see if you were upstairs. So there's a couple exceptions just from historical purposes, but that's Oak Alley, a beautiful, beautiful place. It was kind of misty that morning. You got to get the praline liqueur. I don't know if you've ever tried this. I had not until I was in Louisiana.
Yeah, it's good.
It is good. Fortunately, they have this at our local Total Wine. When I ran out, I bought some more, but it made the trip better. And you see, so much of the Mississippi you see is industrial, and as you're near New Orleans, kind of, in New Orleans and Baton Rouge, because there is the river there is cut so that ocean going vessels can come up there and get loads from river going vessels, and it's amazing to watch. Once you get past Baton Rouge, you see in the countryside. I mean, it's just so beautiful out there. This was Hummus House. They were decorated for Christmas. Of course, we were there in December, and those giant ornaments were really fun.
Oh.
Had a good time. This was our guide. I can't remember her name right now, but she said, "Come on, come on." Every time it was time to go to the next room. She was great. I took this picture because this is the Hummus House, and that's the little historical sign I'm pointing out with one hand, and the ship on the other hand. There's not a dock there, but they pull right up anyway, and they have golf carts to help people over if you can't walk up the dike there. And it's amazing to me that this is how close you are. You're not riding motor coaches for hours and hours. You are at the places that you want to be. And the places that were in the included in excursions were excellent excursions, and the ones that weren't were like $30 or $40. They were very reasonably priced and well worth the upgrade. Again, I really like that articulating gangway.
Yeah.
Kind of a geek about that kind of stuff. Really inventive. This is the old state capitol in Baton Rouge, I believe. This building is very historic significance and beautiful on the inside. It's very interestingly decorated.
That's pretty.
Here in Baton Rouge, you did have a dock, so we could, it was, we got off really early in the morning. We walked up and down. And so this destroyer, I can't think of the name of it right this second off the top of my head, but normally if you're just a guest walking up off the street, it's like $10 or something to go in, but it was included. You just had to show your American Cruise Lines boarding pass, kind of, that you keep with you, your key card essentially. And it was like that a lot of the time. So you could go on escorted excursions, or you could go do your own thing, and a lot of those things were included, and it's very thoughtful and well planned out. They talk about these the towboats out there, and the tows, which is the big part out there, and it's amazing. You would not believe how much cargo goes up and down the Mississippi River. It's amazing. Great food. You got to get Zapp's potato chips whenever you're in New Orleans. Great museums. Again, the museums were included. It's, again, beautiful on this river. We were welcome to go on the bridge. This was the first officer on board, also a captain. There's two captains on board that change shifts. He has the little joystick controllers and amazing GPS technology, and operates that gangplank. Very, very cool, very nice. Again, such an accommodating staff. Everybody remembers your name. They know what you like. This was a little further down. No, Natchez. This is Natchez, Mississippi. And then this was Vicksburg. And so it includes entrance into Vicksburg National Park, which is of great significance with the Civil War. This was the USS Cairo, which was an ironclad boat, which was pretty advanced technology at the time. Yeah. It was torpedoed and sunk in 1862, but going to this memorial is really very interesting. I learned about the Sultana. I never knew about this steamer. It is the greatest maritime disaster in U.S. history, and you never hear about it. But we did. It was mostly 2,300 Union soldiers on their way back home. And sad story, but interesting part of history. And I would have never known this if I hadn't taken this cruise. That was the Sultana. You know what this building is, right? Nabisco Biscuit Company, National Biscuit Company. We found a little rooftop bar in town and got some pretzels and Reuben, some local beer. Vicksburg was really a neat town. That's me back in the back in our cabin on board. As you can see, it's not a typical river cruise ship. I mean, this isn't a suite. It's a standard balcony, and there's a lot of room on the balcony. It has glass balcony walls, so you can always see through everywhere. And I think the room size is more like a hotel room almost than a cruise ship. Another beautiful scene through there as we go. Love Bill. And then when you get back to New Orleans, this is round trip New Orleans. You got to go to the National World War II Museum.
We got to get you.
This place is amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
It's the best World War II museum I've been to, and there's a video, like a 3D video, 4D video with Tom Hanks. It's very moving, very amazing. Highly recommend it. I'm going to kind of pure Chop House. Yep, I'll end with that.